Well, the month of October 2024 for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising gives you an eclipse in your 11th house of social groups and career gains. But at the same time, so big changes are happening there. You're experiencing as well a huge amount of activity that escalates your financial situation and really makes you pay attention to the money story. Let's talk about in detail how this month will unfold for all of you Sagittariuses. If you're listening for your rising sign, it's kind of like you at the steering wheel of your life. It's you, the character in the matrix. The sun is the game player, the one who's the real person, but it's your career and purpose. And if you're listening for your moon or moon sign, moon can represent your mind, body, and how you feel about life, but it's also connections to home and matters connected to home. So listen for all three. Let's get going. And before we talk about the sky for you, which is intense because there is that eclipse, let me remind you that I share one thing about myself. My name, Lori Lothian, Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology, whole sign houses. Come aboard. I put all sign videos out, 30 videos a month. But what I want to share is that in the month of October every year, I sell my pre-sale price for my 2025, in this case, videos. These are up to 2 hours long and somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours each. And they're going to break down 2025 for you, for your sign. You can purchase just your sign or the bundle, which is a better deal because in the bundle, you can share it with friends and family and you can listen for your sun, moon, and rising. So you get a better value out of the bundle. And what that is access to backroom secret access to those videos. They'll never be on YouTube. And they help me fundraise for my channel, buy the equipment I need, the ring lights, the new computers, hire staff that I need, and just help me grow the business and grow the channel as well. So if you want to be a supporter and help me out, that's kind of like my artificial Kickstarter. It's buy that product that you won't get on YouTube and you get to get content, including a PDF guidebook. Look at the details in the link below my description box, and I'll pin it to the comments. This offer ends on October the 31st. Happy Halloween. Let's talk about the sky, Sagittarius, you half man, half horse archers. You're fabulous folk. It's an interesting time. Jupiter is the Lord of your sign. Let's give you a big picture view before we break it down. Jupiter is the Lord of your sign, and I'm going to show you the sky. And Jupiter is in his detriment in Gemini. But anytime you experience the Lord of your sky in a place in the sky in which he's not doing his best, you have to notice how your life may feel a little off kilter. And so Jupiter in Gemini, in the sign of his exile, is the house of your significant long-term love stories. It's the house of your business partners and how you reach out to the clients and audience and marketplace for 10th house career activities. And while he does bless you like a fairy godfather in that part of your chart, or Santa Claus, he's also a little off kilter. If you're in a long-term marriage, your partner may be lucky and having great success, or blessed endings could happen, but also your long-term relationship and the partnership may be a little bit off kilter since May, when Jupiter entered here, through to next June. So keep that big backdrop story in mind, because he will retrograde this month on October the 9th through to February. And when he's retrograde in your significant other's house, things go back for you. Like you may find you're hearing from or getting in touch with old lovers, old long-term spouses and partners in business. People in like that regard from the past show up. And if you have people who come into your life who want to help you, that's Jupiter, teachers, guides, mentors, benefactors, allies, people are going to show up as your people. The retrograde means people from the past coming into your life starting October 9th to support you in some way. And if you are, just for the record, a Sagittarius sun, moon, or rising, but more particularly rising sign, and you have your rising sign somewhere near 19 to 22 degrees of Gemini, that's around the station retrograde. It's really going to impact how you experience your primary long-term committed spousal type relationships. If you're single, of course, it could bring you a new one, but then we're looking at someone from the past. And this retrograde means past opportunities, past people, past lovers, past spouses, past business partners can reemerge starting on October the 9th. So that's a big picture story for you in October. But also let's talk about Venus and Mercury and what are they doing, and Mars this month. And after we talk about those planets, we're going to dive into the chronological week by week breakdown for you of the transits. So Mercury is a fast-moving planet, and the little bugger on September the 29th entered into Libra, and that is where he'll be till the 12th. That's your 11th house of good spirit. When he's up here, he brings a lot of social activity. You might have been more activated to spend time with friends, to visit friends, to do social activities with friends, to consort with your colleagues and coworkers in social activities. You may have been busy negotiating greater career gains and salary gains and perks, and are applying for promotions or rewards in your profession. Those kinds of activities with Mercury up there, or talking a lot with a sibling, one older than you. Those have been engaging you ever since September 26th, and Mercury completes that story on the 12th of October. When he leaves there, and he's going to be involved in an eclipse, so we'll get back to that, plus the South Node. But for now, just know that's a general vibe. Then on October the 13th through to the November 1st, he moves into the sign one over, which is your 12th house, Scorpio, 12th house, whole sign house. When he's here, you may be finding yourself really introspective. I certainly would say pay attention to your dreams at night. Your mind goes inward. You value your alone time and solitude for thinking, for writing, for paying attention to insights from your dreams, and you will have them if you pay attention, if you remember them. Mercury is a dream messenger in a house of the deep soul and unconscious. So, October 13th and November is very spiritual, very mystical for you, and Mercury is useful that way. But there is an exception. If you make money, borderless income, international revenue, because maybe you're a digital income earner, or maybe you work for a foreign company, a lot of contracts, negotiations, communications, or increase can happen here as Mercury moves through that part of your chart on the 13th to November 1st. Venus, the lesser benefic fairy godmother herself, happens to be moving as in the sign of her detriment, Scorpio, as you begin the month of October, right? So she got there September 22nd, and continues her swim through the Scorpio swamp from till October the 16th. So the first 2 weeks are October stories for Venus here. And when she's moving through Scorpio, she's in your 12th house. That's where you want that quiet, introspective dream insight, or you can make money from far off foreign shores and commerce internationally. She certainly is good for money, so your money can increase, and a sweet spot in your finances will be October the 13th to the 16th, when both Mercury and Venus are co-present in your 12th house. And also the 13th to the 16th is sweet for a pleasurable trip to a place of isolation, like a writing retreat, an ashram, a quiet solitude of some sort, a getaway. It's a short window of yay, but 13th to 16th, those things look good for you. And finally, when Venus is in the 12th house, secret love affair stories sometimes burble up. And if a secret love affair is happening in your life at this time, with Mars in your 8th house, it's still all good. It brings more benefits to you than not benefits if secret love affairs is a thing that you do or would like to be doing. All right. Venus will move out of the Scorpio swamp and into the Sagittarius saddle on October the 17th to November the 10th. So you get the latter half of October with Venus gallivanting through Sagittarius. And that's your first house. That's you, or that's your sun, that's your career, or that's your moon, that's your body, your home matters. And so you really feel her blessings for you. This is a time in which your health improves. It's a time in which you feel better about life. You feel more lucky. People like you. You feel more attractive. You like yourself better. You're more congenial. You're persuasive and charming. And so you get this energy on your side. Thank you, Venus, from October 17th to November the 10th. And she's ruled by Mars, Jupiter, who happens to be sitting, your Lord, over in your 7th house, indicating a window of time where people bring very golden gifts to you of opportunity. Here, do you want this golden opportunity? Hey, can I help you grow and expand? Or even relations with your marriage partner improve if you have a marriage partner. And I wouldn't start a new relationship under this energy because it's going to still be in opposition, but it's good for your existing love relationships to kind of really, through some kind of friction of oppositional desires, find a new place to land, a new place to be more solid in that relationship. It's your diplomacy and it's your hopeful nature and your skillful communication in the cheerful of Venus way. You're able to get what you want with the business partners, the clients, and your long-term partner in love. And that blessing is October 17th to November the 10th. Now, when we move into Mars, that's a long story. I've done a whole video on the Mars journey through the sign of Cancer, but Mars is in Cancer for a long time, September 4th to November 4th. Then he's back again January 6th to April 18th. So get used to Mars in your 8th house. This is interesting because Jupiter can bring like blessed endings to relationships in our marriages, and Mars is in the separation of spousal assets and joint money. So he separates the joint monies. Or you have to go to battle over inheritance money, or you have to really dig in and make some very serious and profound action plans and decisions around your retirement money, your investment money, your resources that come from other people, your book royalty income. You share it with shareholders in a company. And Mars is about like paring away all that's not needed, the gangrene limb, the rotten on your arm, the rotten wood on the tree, so the tree can thrive. So he cuts away what's needed. Master, how do you carve a perfect elephant? Every time I carve away all that is not elephant. You get rid of the dross here in the 8th house. Now, because the 8th house is also an occult mysteries house, you might be passionately diving into some occult mystery or some occult knowledge path, astrology, the tarot, and working hard at it and maybe learning something perhaps. The other thing with Mars here is secret love affairs, especially when he is flowing to Venus and Scorpio. And so again, October 17th and November 10th, secret love affairs may blossom or emerge out of the blue. So get ready for that. Could it be your husband or wife's secret love affair? No, not really. I think it's yours if it's going to happen based on the sky, but we shall see. Don't get paranoid, okay? This is general bell curve astrology. It's not your natal chart. Mars here as well. Cut, end, and sever guy, he does square your house of friendship circles, and a lot of friends you have, you may decide you don't want. South Node in the house of, my larger social networks, my larger gallery of friends, not the bestie that you have from childhood. No, those more larger networks. Mars could end some of those relationships for you while he's here in the month of October. So if he does end something, and he could have done that in September as well, then it's all good. But with the eclipse in the house of friends and Mars in the 8th house, we'll see maybe at least one major friendship come to a halt, close, ending, or severing, probably. Or a very big friction with a sibling, one older than you, going on in this time frame of the month of October, the whole month. Jupiter will retrograde this month. He's the head of you, retrogrades on October 9th. And I mentioned earlier in your 7th house of long-term committed love and partners and legal agreements. He's a god of legal matters. So you could go back on a legal agreement, revise a legal agreement, make a change with a partner. A partner goes back on a vow. You guys could experience, as I said, benefactors and powerful supportive people from your life in the past, even old spouses showing up from the past for some reason for you. And it will be an important reason. And the retrograde starts on October 9th, but it doesn't end until February. So keep that in mind. Finally, Pluto goes direct on October the 11th. He's in the last degree of Capricorn, which is your money house. Pluto has been really taking you through the evolutionary transpersonal ringer since 2008, teaching you deep lessons about money, wealth, power. And power, money, wealth lessons, ups and downs and transformation and losses and gains have been a story for most of you Sagittarius, especially rising. If it's your sun, it's about your career matters and the losses and gains there. This energy is going to end, and Pluto is going to turn around on October the 11th and give you the final reward of things you've been learning there since 2008. Right now he's retrograde. It's not fully ready to give you the goods to go forward. But October the 11th to November the 19th is the handout period. What have you learned about money? What have you learned about savings? What have you learned about self-worth and self-value? What have you learned about your resources and how you need them to survive? Those lessons are crystallizing for you on October the 11th through to November 19th. And I'll be doing a separate, deeper video on that involving the asteroids. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Now we're going to break down the sky, Sagittarius, and we're going to break it down into the week by week, day by day breakdown. So maybe get a pen or a paper and settle in for the rest of the story. We all know we have an eclipse in Libra coming up on October 2nd, but also on the 1st, we have Mercury in the heart of the sun, also the last day of September. It's all time zone dependent, but you can look at that first couple of days of the month, and we have Mercury getting divine mission instructions from the sun and resetting for at least 6 weeks matters of friendship. Is our 11th. Oops, I'm going to show you the sky. I forgot to do that. I'm going to now show people what I'm doing at the second half. So let me pull that up for you, Sagittarius. Alrighty, I think I found it. Yes, there we go. So hopefully that makes it easier for you to see, and I'll try annotating a little bit as well. So here what we have is we have the good old sky. It's a little bit big. There we go. Of the beginning of the month, and Mercury and the sun are together, as you can see. And this is called a cazimi, or Mercury in the heart of the sun. And as this is occurring, there is also an eclipse on October 2nd. And that's because the moon will catch up with the sun at 10 degrees of Libra, and there will be a major event of a new beginning, a new portal to something fresh and new in the great gains of your career. Now, I'm going to do an eclipse video, but you had an eclipse here October the 14th last year, last fall, last October. And so it's a second wave of change. But however, this one is very different because Mercury is infused into the sun as this eclipse is occurring. And so it suggests that there's other elements at play, as well as Juno, the goddess of agreements, contracts, and vows. And South Node, surrender. So one way I think you're going to see this energy of October 1st and 2nd play out is that you could get some divine downloads through phone calls, emails, and text messages, or news from that elder sibling, from the friend or benefactor or ally, or a colleague or coworker, because these kinds of people live in your 11th house, and Mercury is the information news god. So look for big events around October 1st and 2nd, news stories coming from these people towards you, and it flows to you, and you don't mind that because this is called a sextile. So your Sag energy receives this gratefully. Now, a friend in the sky from an eclipse could be eclipsed not just in the 6 weeks that follows the conjunction, but in the year that follows. And therefore, the loss of a friend to whom you have a strong connection, because Juno's like, we're devoted, like we're married, that could happen. It doesn't mean they're dying. It means they might move away, but there's some reason, and Mars squares, you could lose that friendship as a result, or the connection to the elder sibling. So be aware of that as well. Mars will trine Saturn during this time frame, the first 3 days of October. Well, Mars, the god of change and decisions and endings, and Saturn, the god of that which is structural and solid, could indicate a change in your home environment connected to mortgages, refinances, rental contracts, situations to do with money and home. So Mars is making action happen and decisions happen, right? And so there's a major change in the home story. Now, Saturn is structural, and he wants you to hunker down, but you might have been feeling alone or lonely or melancholic or depressed or heavy in the home since last March, and Mars will have none of it. He's trining Saturn. He wants something good to happen. He might say, spend some money and move to a place you like, or invest, take out your 401k stuff or your retirement money and do something different, change it up, move or shift or break up the stagnation, the melancholy, or build a house and take out money to build a new home. Something wants to change here. You're getting some vibe for it, certainly October the 2nd, 3rd. On October the 4th, Venus will trine Saturn. Now, Saturn is having his time in the try and make your dreams come true regarding homeland, property, real estate with Neptune. And Venus is in the 12th house of foreign lands. So property and real estate, foreign lands and foreign shores, forming a grand water trine. Ultimately, it is kind of like, October the 2nd through to the 9th, Venus in trine to Saturn suggests you're going to try to find some kind of lucky, opportunistic, good energy regarding matters to do with home, chunky money, and far, far off foreign shores. But another way this can play out is inheritance coming to you from a blessed old elder, Great Aunt Susie, great grandma Sue or whatever in the hospital. So the downside in terms of we don't like hospitals, we don't like death, we don't like inheritance maybe is that, but yet it's in a trine. So it's not like a shock. You probably expected it. We all knew she was ill, she was ailing, or he was ailing. And this is just simply the outpicturing of the final outcome of movement towards possession of some monies from an ailing elder, even an ailing elder who's lived with you. But we shall see. Also, on October the 4th, Mercury will be in a square to Mars. Mars keeps getting in hot water with some stories here. So Mercury squaring Mars around October the 4th means there's some difficult news around finances or difficult news around family secrets that you're contending with around October the 4th. Okay, but then Mercury at the same time, by October 7th to the 9th, decides he's going to play nice and flow in a beautiful trine to Jupiter. So first there's this kind of difficulty around money, secrets, conflicts around hidden things, and maybe a friendship or an elder sibling. And after that difficult communication story plays out around October 4th, it kind of then tussles into a nice blessing. And Mercury says, I like to make something good and prosperous happen here through business partners, your marriage spousal house. And he's telling Jupiter what to do, right? He owns Jupiter. Jupiter's in his house. So it's a 1-2 punch. First the hard stuff, then the good stuff. Good cop, bad cop, good cop. An opportunity coming through a former spouse, a spouse, an ally, a benefactor. He hasn't quite turned retrograde when this happens, so he's just stationing to retrograde. If you're a Sag around 21 degrees sun, moon, or rising, you really feel this poignantly and powerfully. There's an opportunity coming. It could be a career and work gain opportunity. It could be a blessing. It could be a windfall. It could be something good happening in your marriage situation regarding social events and groups of belonging. Mercury tries to make something social, a social occasion, very blessed for you, your marriage partner, your business partner, your audience and marketplace. So a sweet sky for you then. Keep that in mind. And then again, Mercury and Jupiter, October 7th to the 9th. Well, also, of course, Venus is trining Mars. That's all such a nice sky for you. October 13th and 14th, the sun will trine Jupiter. Now, remember, Jupiter was already trined by Mercury on the 7th to the 9th, and now on the 13th to the 14th, the sun catches up. So the sun in a flow to Jupiter, in this case, would likely look like career stories, either an elder sibling or a career story, something going on with a sibling one older you that's very blessed and positive. It could also give you some money, some windfalls, some pennies from heaven, or something going on in your life that really looks like an amazingly positive career development coming through another person, Jupiter. So a headhunter, an opportunity, a friend, a benefactor, an ally, somebody wants to give you some golden career guidance, opportunity, or wisdom. You may as well take it. And it could look like a new agreement, contract around work. Mercury rules your 10th house. So a new work contract, a new work agreement. If you're looking for work, this could be very good as well. October 13th to the 14th. However, the sun still does have some problems, as did Mercury, by squaring Mars. So 1-2 punch. And then there's all that money problem back here. I mean, this could be anything, guys. It could be insurance tax problem, insurance payout problems, money with your accountant, money with your stock market. These things are like looking like you need to figure it out. First, there's the news and communication about it, probably from Mercury just beforehand, right? Around, when did I give you the date for that? Mercury does the square to Mars on the 4th of October, around that time. And then now the sun does the same difficult square, October 13th, 14th. It's all connected. You got to deal with this money, say a long-term money, retirement money, credit card debt, mortgage problem, right? You got to figure that out this month as well. Okay, so Mercury and Pluto are going to have a square. And that's coming up October 13th and 14th. Mercury here, Pluto here, Mercury at the tail end of Libra. Let's make this clean. Mercury here moves to the very end of Libra, 29. Talks to Pluto, moving towards him at 29. Mercury Pluto can be like X-ray vision or seeing behind the scenes or knowing, penetrating mind and insight to go underneath the surface and see what's really there, but you're not the penetrating mind. It's somebody else, that elder sibling, that, one above you, that friend who's got the penetrating insight to communicate something to you that was hidden from view about your self-worth, your financial matters, and your own money. Look for penetrating insight from another, or a penetrating in email, phone call, or text that really helps you get under the surface of some of the money challenges and lessons you've been learning since 2008. On the other hand, it could be an opportunity for work that increases your riches. And that's the upside of that. And the energy of that square is October 13th and 14th. On October 14th, 15th now, Venus gets into the mix and creates a wedge in the sky. This is good. Wedges mean breakthrough energy. Venus will be here. She'll be opposite Uranus on fixed star Algol, which is a well star, but also unexpected things that off their head. Uranus is always about the unexpected or shocking or surprising. And so unexpected, shocking surprises are emerging for you around October 14th, 15th, to do with your marriage partner, your significant other, business partner, or someone who's a client audience member. Jupiter's trying to protect it. It can't be too bad. And Venus is in the 12th house. So connected to a foreign place, a foreign shore, a foreign land, or something private, and maybe something sexual. So there's a bit of a shock and awe, a surprise. She's right here at the, brain, come back online. What day am I on? Oh my God. Yeah. No, she's where I said she was. She's the last degree of Scorpio. But then Neptune wants to sort of solidify it with breakthrough energy. He's where the kinetic energy says, this is where the good stuff happens. And it has to do with property. It has to do with real estate. It has to do with your home. And it looks like there's a breakthrough here of some kind. And you want to have a dream home, but you might have missed the mark, right? And Saturn retrograde till November, started in June. You're rethinking and revising your strategies for the dream home. And now you see this breakthrough energy coming through the house of, I said significant other. I mean, the house of work. It's because I drew too many lines here. The house of work, the house of karmic debt, the house of debt. So you can pay off the mortgage. You can get a mortgage. You can refinance the mortgage. You can do backroom deals and negotiations to improve your finances around property, home, land, and real estate. But it still might involve a marriage partner, because this has a Venus vibe to it, right? And Jupiter, he's getting all mucked up as well in the story. And he's the god of marriage himself, because basically, to me, I'd say with Jupiter ruling your 4th house where the dream home is supposed to happen, and this kind of financial axis of 6-12 taking place, things to do with your marriage, your home, your money, your resources, your shared resources with the partner, refinancing, mortgages, debts, credit cards are really in play. But there's a bit of a breakthrough energy, and you're clearing a fog of confusion, a fog of illusion. And some of the clearing of the fog may be facilitated by a long-term marriage partner or somebody who's a guide or a teacher or wisdom holder for you, around a significant person around the time we're talking about, which is the wedge formation, October 14th and 15th. Now, on October 17th, Venus will be moving into 0 degrees of Sagittarius. And as she gets into the early part of Sagittarius on the 17th of the month, she happens to feel a different vibe playing out. She is ready for something new. She wants to experience life in a new way. And one of the things I like about this, just for you, is to remind you, no matter what went on before this, when you cross that threshold of something new on the 17th, because she's in that, 14th, 15th, 16th opposition to Uranus, you might be a little rattled, destabilized around home and money and maybe marriage partners. But when she moves there on the 17th, you start to feel the goodness of something. You start to feel assured or reassured that all is well, that something good is trying to happen, and maybe even that the universe has your back. So I just want to remind you of that. On October 22nd, Mercury will trine Saturn. Saturn is what you're trying to achieve at home and in the home base, or the elder living with you, if that's what's happening, and Mercury will have moved to the midpoint here of Scorpio. It's a water trine. So what Mercury might say here is something you're trying to negotiate in the back room, or even hospital things, contracts, deals, negotiations, conversations in and around hospitals to do with an elder, and engaging in property, land, home, real estate, and maybe inheritance matters could be going on. Otherwise, maybe Mercury's saying ideas and projects that you have been working on in your spare time in the back end quietly, or connected to travel or information from foreign lands, benefits you greatly in stabilizing your long-range goals and plans for your home life and what you wish to do in and from your home. And come on, Mars is in a trine to Saturn. It's not a bad idea to sell a home at this point. It really isn't. If you've been thinking about it, it could look like a good time, and that Mercury could be the backroom negotiation with the agent over commission, or, situations about finalizing those sorts of agreements. By the way, out of sight of other people, privately, not telling in the world about this. October the 23rd to the 30th is one big story. We're finishing up. October 23rd to 30th is Mars sextile Uranus, Mars trine Neptune. Let me show you that. Mars, is moving through Cancer, and he will, on the 23rd to the 30th, end up flowing to Neptune and flowing to Uranus. All said and done, we have a miniature grand trine, which is lucky and very fortunate. What can we make of this story? It's kind of like it leads with Mars Uranus, 23rd to the 25th, and completes with Mars Neptune. So there's unexpected surprises in debts, debt holdings, stock investments, money owed to you from the past could come back to you, especially if it involves an elder sibling. Surprise, wealth, money, debt, but also surprise, new rental opportunity, new rental agreements, surprise, new developments with a pet. These are sixth house stories. But then Mars is in the house of that money that the bank owns, that the credit card company owns, that the insurance company has, that your tax rebate structures come out of. And the money you share with your spouse or the significant other in your life. Don't forget, Mars wants to go to battle for it or divide it. And so there's a positive surprise in the way you may cut apart, separate, divide money you share with a spouse type person. And at the same time, Mars trine Neptune allows for complete releasement of all the illusions and delusions that have held you back regarding this perfect, happy home that you're not really feeling. The financial matters around that perfect, happy home that you're not really feeling. I can tell you that much. Saturn brings that hardship energy here. And if your moon is anywhere in Pisces, you're in your Sati, which amplifies it. And I won't go into that now. And here is Saturn, Uranus. I hate trying to predict this one because Uranus is always the unpredictable. Some unexpected, shocking surprise with a pet, a rental agreement, a work situation that's going to help you shift your home that has not been so happy and make it a lot happier. With Mercury and Scorpio, backroom deals and negotiations regarding money and work situations can be to your benefit, because by the time we get there, we know that Mercury has moved on and he is no longer in the sign of Libra, but he'll be hanging out over here, right? And he does flow to Mars. So I don't know what you're up to here. You might not tell your partner you're going to sell the house. You might be keeping secrets about how much money you have. You don't want to separate those assets too much. You want to keep your mother load for yourself. Watch out for Mars in his fall here. Of course, Mars can be debilitated, and you can make some rash and emotional decisions around money and home, money and partnership, money and work situations, but still it is a mini grand trine. So your impulsive emotional energies in the 8th house aren't always the worst thing. There may be a shocking surprise that your marriage type partner has been having a secret love affair on you. That could pretty well cause you to want to divide the assets and sell the home, right? But If you want to change your home, buy a home, or sell a home, the window of good stuff is here, right? And that looks like you can pull it off October 23rd to the 30th. I hope that's useful. Mercury will oppose Uranus. We know that Uranus is a god of surprises. Wherever he goes, surprising things happen. Venus opposed him October 14th to 16th. Then Mercury does the same gig around the 26th to the 30th, as Mercury will sit here and be opposite Uranus. What does that look like? It looks like you got a surprise already back October 14th, 15th, and 16th about rental things, pets, work situations, health. I forgot to bring up health. Pluto has transformed the way you eat things. You're no longer eating foods that are so bad for you. Changed your dietary style for better health since 2008. And Uranus is a god of shock and awe. Venus is the goddess of positive things happening. Maybe. And then you're on Mercury is the news. There's some positive and surprising news around your health in the last week of October. Mercury is delivering information from the 12th house, information or news from far off foreign shores and lands, information and news about your work situation connected to revenue from international business that surprises the heck out of you. But with an ongoing mini grand trine, I'm not too worried about it. I think it will feel good. I think you'll like it. It makes a kind of arrow in the sky, right? You can see it. This is happening and Mercury's doing this, and it points to, yes, radical, unexpected change of work, home, where you work, how you work, your work routines, your health routines, pet situations, rental situations, and debt situations. I think if you have a lot of debt, like a mortgage or heavy credit card debt, or something's laboring you here and it connects to property and land or ancestral debt or inheritance monies, positive shifts are happening October 23rd to the 30th. Thank you for listening, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you're new to my channel, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out Skyreader. Check out the 2025 90 to 2 hour videos, 12 of them, one for each sign, with a PDF guidebook, or buy the bundle of 12 signs for a fraction of the cost, because you can share with friends and family and listen for your sun, your moon, and rising. And the pre-sale is going to be starting October the 1st. And if you want to get in on that pre-sale and you don't want to miss the opportunity to buy that, check the description box below. In fact, I might even open the pre-sale doors now so people aren't confused about coming back. So look in the description box below through to the end of October. The pre-sale is on. I'm producing the content, and when it's ready in early to mid-October, you'll get that content at the price you'll never see again. So if you like that kind of stuff, or you have your own personal guide, me talking to you about your sign, and we do not see that on my YouTube channel, then it helps me grow my own business. But I use that funds to hire people, my video editor, and to buy my equipment and stuff like that. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Ciao, ciao.